If the audio is there, why don't we take a listen and hear what's being said?
CMS Superintendent Clayton Wilcox, then Captain of the Patrol Division at Matthews Police Department, Stason Terrell, and then Mayor Paul Bailey will finish it up. The first two speakers will field a few questions after they speak. So thank you very much. I will pass it over to Mr. Wilcox.
Good afternoon. This is a sad and troubling day for all of us in this community. Our hearts are heavy today as we mourn with the victim's family and friends and the loved ones and everyone affected by this morning's tragic events at Butler High School. We've lost a young person in our community today, and nothing could be more tragic than that and what has happened today. First of all, I want to say to the families and staff at Butler High School, I'm incredibly proud of the way that you reacted today. I'm incredibly proud of Principal John LeGrand. He was a rock today for his school community and for his students. I'm especially proud of the young people who conducted themselves today in a manner that I think many adults could learn from. Our young people today, at the first signs of a lockdown, went into their classrooms, barricaded themselves in the classrooms, and waited quietly to be dismissed to the outside because they understood that panic in a difficult moment would only lead to more confusion. Those young people understood, even though they were texting mom and dad saying, I'm okay, or I'm worried, I'm scared, understood that they couldn't just run out into the streets where we didn't know where they were. And so to the young people, I want to say thank you. I also want to say that we will not have school at at Butler High School tomorrow. We're going to give our teachers an opportunity to process what they've been through. We're going to give our students an opportunity to stay at home with family and loved ones and come to grips with what took place today. We'll also use this time to have our teachers make sure that they're okay, talking with grief counselors and others so that they're prepared to meet the students on Thursday and answer any questions that our students might have. I want to say to each and every one of you that nothing is more important than the safety and security of our kids, and we will do what it takes to protect our kids. I also want to say to you that we're especially thankful today that we've had the governor, the state superintendent, many of our elected officials, and those behind me who have been with us throughout the entire day, offering their support, their encouragement, and their sympathy. We're working with law enforcement right now to try to piece together exactly what happened on our campus today. Our immediate concern, however, is making sure that all those affected understand that we are here for them and will provide whatever we need to help them get right and to help them return to a sense of normalcy in a world that seems all too crazy right now. Right now, this appears to be a tragedy. It was a result of a conflict between two individual students, and it was, in fact, an isolated event. First reports indicate that the conflict began with bullying that escalated out of control, and as fear took over, a young person brought a gun to solve the problems. I want to thank again the staff and the students, but I also want to especially thank the Matthews Police Department, the CMPD, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, and our own CMS PD for their quick response on the campus at Butler High School. I also want to thank the many families who came to the aid of their children. I have some other information that I'll convey once again. That is, first, Butler High School will be closed tomorrow, October 30th, for our students. Wednesday, October 31st is a scheduled teacher workday, and staff will report to Butler if they choose to on both of those days. This is going to take some time. Healing from trauma requires patience, support, and a community that cares and deals in facts and not rumors and innuendo. I want to clarify that our decision to keep students on campus and in class was motivated by one goal, and that's to keep our students safe until transportation could be arranged with their families. I want to ask each of you who are here to consider for just one moment what would have happened had we just let kids run off into the neighborhoods. For parents who are worried about their children, what would they have said to us if they would have come to school and we couldn't locate their children. I think their fear would have been magnified. So I say to our community, the plan that we had in place when an active shooter was on the campus was effectuated and it was effective. Some have asked me, how could someone, especially a student, come onto one of our campuses with a loaded gun? And I wish I had an answer to that. There really is no easy answer. We do not have metal detectors in our schools. We do not search our students on the way into school. Our schools and students rely on cooperation between and amongst each other. And today, that simply wasn't enough. As we move forward with this, we encourage each and everyone who knows something about it to either report it to CMS officials, to support it, to report it to the town of Matthews Police Department. And they may do that in person, or they may do that anonymously through a source here at the police department or through our CMS website. I will say to each of you that we have work to do, and we will not shy away from that work of making sure that all of our campuses are safe for all of our young people. I can't promise miracles, but I can promise that we will move heaven and earth to make our schools more safe for all of our kids. We'll begin to take a look at just every aspect of both our security plans and how we treat kids each and every day in school that might have contributed to some of this. It's a long road ahead. I want to thank our community for their support. I also want to thank the Matthews Police Department once again for their quick response and for their support today. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to the captain, and then I'll step back up to take any questions that you might have for me from CMS.
I would like to echo Superintendent Wilcox's sincere gratitude and appreciation, and just how proud we are of everyone that responded to this difficult and tragic situation. We had immediate assistance from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, from the Mint Hill Police Department, from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools Police Department, as well as numerous federal partners that not only immediately responded to the scene, but also were in continuous contact with us to try and get as many details and try and work with us to get the situation to a place where we could conduct the active investigation, which is what we're currently in the middle of right now. That investigation, I do want to give you as much information as I can at this time, but we are still early on, even though we do have a suspect in custody. It's still going to take some time before we can release complete information, but I do want to give you what we have at this time, beginning with the timeline of how it took place. The school resource officer for Butler High School was in the cafeteria area at about 7:14 a.m. this morning when he and school security officers heard a commotion in a hallway that was adjoining to the cafeteria. They immediately moved to that area as students were running and from that area quickly away. That was about 15 to 20 seconds when they were able to make their way to the victim and start rendering aid to him. At that time, the school resource officer immediately put out on his school radio to go into a lockdown procedure that the school followed as pre-planned, and they moved into lockdown for the individual students. It happened very, very quickly. He then got on his police radio and notified over the radio to the other officers that a school shooting had taken place. At that time, we did not know how many shooters we had or the dynamics that were going on. It was still very early on. It was within the first minute of it taking place. And from that point, the school resource officer that was out front directing traffic immediately moved into the school. Another officer that was nearby was inside the school within a minute or two. It was about between 5 to 7 minutes later, after the shooting took place, that a teacher was able to get word out that she was actually with the shooter, and he admitted to what he had done and was ready to surrender. That location was given to officers that were already in the school at that time. It was 7:25 a.m. and there were already 4 officers inside the school. Those officers moved into that area where they were able to take the suspect into custody. I want to go ahead and release the name of the victim at this time. A lot of this information has already circulated in some social media, but we do want to confirm the name of the young man that's deceased is Bobby McKeithen. He's a 16-year-old student at Butler High School in the 10th grade. Can also release the information of the suspect, another 16-year-old. This was a 9th grader, Jatwan Craig Cuffey. He was in custody at this time at the Mecklenburg County Jail, charged with first-degree murder. The Mecklenburg County District Attorney's Office has been working with us from the very beginning. They also responded to the scene and are aware of where the investigation is. And again, we want to thank everybody that has assisted us from the crime scene investigation all the way through to the point where we are now with charges and this follow-up